What bothers me is that you couldn't go to her house.
Why would that bother you?
Because you don't trust yourself.
I do.
No, you didn't.
But I do, though. That wasn't about me.
Then why couldn't you go to her house? Huh?
Alright, Sistas fans, as you saw at the beginning of this video, I tried to add in some clips from the episode last week, pretty much depicting the reason why Fatima gets so effing mad at the very thought of Zach and Karen ever since Zach talked about those two meeting up to quote-unquote get closure. And I remember on Twitter saying that if you ask me, it felt like Fatima was reaching for a reason to come up with some excuse or basically another barrier in terms of her not wanting to feel the way she's feeling about Zach, which is, you know, loving him. So before going further into the video, make sure you take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like it. Hit subscribe because we're getting closer to 200,000 subscribers. Hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description. And with that being said, let's get into it. So, I've seen some people who said, Fatima's right. Zach should be able to go over to Karen's house without any issues, talk about what it is, and then leave. But I heavily disagree with that. I'm not saying that because I'm a man and Zach's a man, but I'm just saying that, here's an example. Let's say somebody you care about, a friend, family, loved one. Let's just say for simplicity's sake, let's say you're married to somebody who has an alcohol problem. And let's say they go out with some friends one night. Maybe it's like one of their buddies are getting, buddies getting married. They go to like a bachelor/bachelorette party, depending on, basically this is in context of you're married to somebody and they're going to celebrate somebody else getting married. And I believe the term is relapse, like they get drunk and then they have a drinking problem again. So they get back to having, cold turkey on all alcoholic beverages. So then you send your spouse to the grocery store because let's say they get off work. Hey, honey, I'm stopping by the store. Do you need anything? And then you say, yeah, I would like to get some champagne because, my boss is having a party tonight and I forgot to pick it up. Can you go get it? Then you get mad when the spouse gets home and it's like, wait, where's the champagne? Honey, I couldn't do it. I couldn't walk down the alcohol aisle because I'm still having that relapse from that bachelor/bachelorette party. So I'm not comfortable being in a position where the temptation is too great for me to buy like a can of beer and drink it, once I got out of the store. And then you get mad because your spouse is like, you know what? You should know better than that. You should have been able to go down that aisle without any issue. I know that's a lengthy, long-winded example, but it's like, I'm proud of Zach for not putting himself in a position where the temptation might have been too great. I feel like Fatima was reaching a bit just for the sake of covering up the fact that she, as she says, I think I might love you. So she was looking for any reason to get on Zach about meeting up with Karen because, look, for the women and men, let's say you're on Fatima's side, make it make sense to me. Because I know guys who say that, you know what, I don't get in elevators when it's just me and there's a woman in there, or I don't, have one-on-one lunches with like female coworkers or whatever because I know myself. And this, I'm talking about people I went to college with who were in relationships at the time or got married or engaged, but now they're married with kids with their, wives and whatnot. But that's something that is not always able to be shaken off because you are faithful to your partner, but I don't see why you should be chastised for not putting yourself in a vulnerable position like that where temptations is there. Like Fatima, Zach just got out of a 3-year relationship. Him and Karen hooked up at the salon office. Why would you be mad at Zach for not going to Karen's house? That doesn't make sense to me. I feel like this was a bit forced. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I feel like Fatima just came up with that reasoning because she's confused internally about her feelings for Zach. So that's usually her defense mechanism, coming up with walls or starting bullshit fights just for the sake of doing so. Not to the extent of Karen and Andy, but Fatima's like that as well. So to me, I think that Zach not going to the house, not going to the salon, because remember, Karen said, can you come by my house tonight at 7? No. Can you come by the salon? Hell no. Danny's house? Danny's going to be there. Yeah. I'm proud of Zach. I'm proud of Zach. Sure. Let's say if Zach went over to the house and he and Karen did it or something. Yeah, that would have sucked. But I'm glad that Zach knows his boundaries. I mean, don't women... And look, I'm not trying to sound like, shaming women or, being sexist or whatnot, but I see these things being posted by female friends all the time. Like, women, if you set up boundaries and a man doesn't respect your boundaries and he's not the one for you, then how come it's, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not a double standard where it's like, so when it's okay for women to set boundaries. Like, let's say, for example, Fatima wouldn't want to go over to Hayden's apartment. Like, let's say Zach is like, okay, Fatima, now you talk about me and Karen, but what about you and Hayden? You had that like one night together. So are you unable to go over to his place because, a temptation? How come you didn't go over there and talk to him, Fatima? Why didn't you, go over to his apartment? I'm not okay with that. You see what I mean? That sounds stupid, right? So how come Zach, knowing his own boundaries and limits, decided not to meet up with Karen's because he didn't want to be tempted? Just because, I mean, look, like I said, I've been single since 10th grade. That was like 2006, 2007. I have never had a relationship since then. So my perspective might be completely off. It's like, Jeremy, you don't know a damn thing. And you're right, because my experience and knowledge could be extremely different from yours. Like, there might be married listeners who have insight that I don't, and there might be single listeners who have insights that I do, because we both are single. But just because I've been single this long doesn't mean I haven't had experiences myself. So I think that it's important to have boundaries for both men and women. So if Fatima isn't able to respect the fact that Zach knows his boundaries and limitations, because, like, look, there are too many memories. It's just like, after you have a bad breakup with somebody, it's like, you know what, I can never watch this movie again because that was her favorite movie, or I can't listen to this song anymore because it makes me think of him. Ooh, we both like to go to this Chinese place, but ever since, we broke up, I can't eat it anymore. It's like, or I can't go for a walk on this, part of the park because we had sex in the bushes or something like that. So I don't think it was unreasonable for Zach to not go over to the salon or apartment, because he knew that wouldn't be a good idea. So if anything else, Fatima should be applauding him for doing so. But she did say that one time, you know what, Zach, maybe it's a good thing you go over there, because this will finally prove once and for all if you're really over Karen. So in that respect, yeah, continuity wise, it makes sense. But in terms of well, then again, trying to mix logic and emotion is always a messy situation. I think she was just reaching. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think it was fair for Fatima to have that expectation of Zach? Or do you agree with Zach that, hey, Zach was a good guy for, knowing where he had boundaries and, what he could and couldn't withstand temptation-wise? But given how those two had the falling out at Danny's place, I think it's safe to say that, well, then again, no, we know Zach's going to the salon this week. Oh, shit. So I don't know. Hell, maybe Fatima was right. Maybe I'm just talking out of my butt, because maybe I think I'm 100% right now, but then Wednesday now I'm like, oh shit, Fatima had a point. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.